Good afternoon, everybody. I'm pleased to welcome you to our session where we will present the calls on AI data and robotics innovation actions and research and innovation actions in robotics. Welcome again. My name is Cécile Huet. I'm the Deputy Head of the unit AI and Robotics Innovation and Excellence, and I'm here today with my colleague Antonio Puente Rodero, who will also present part of the activities. So now you will see the first presentations by Antonio.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I am going to present the next two topics, which are on innovation in AI, data, and robotics. My name is Antonio Puente, and I work for the Robotics and AI Innovation and Excellence Unit of the Directorate General Communication Networks, Content and Technology. As I said, I'm going to present the topics 9 and 10 on innovation in AI, data, and robotics, which belong to Europe Cluster 4. Both topics call for innovation actions in the field of artificial intelligence, data, and robotics. The first one is the topic Horizon CL4 2021 Digital Emerging 0109, and its title is AI, Data, and Robotics for the Green Deal. The second topic is Horizon CL4 2021 Digital Emerging 0110, and its title is AI, Data, and Robotics at Work. I am going to start presenting the first of these two topics, AI, Data, and Robotics for the Green Deal. As I have said, the type of actions called by this topic will be innovation actions. The Commission estimates that an EU contribution around €3 million or €5 million per project, depending on their type, would be appropriate. The projects around €5 million may provide financial support to third parties, as I will explain later. The total indicative budget for this topic is €27 million. The proposed activities are expected to start at an initial technology readiness level between 3 and 5 and must reach a TRL between 6 and 7 by the end of the project. The results of the proposals are expected to contribute to at least one of the three following expected outcomes. 1. Innovative AI, data, and robotic solutions for resource optimization and minimization of waste in any type of sector, reduction of energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions, including exploitation of all data and information sources contributing to optimizing applications for a greener planet. This includes, among others, contribution to enterprises' sustainability programs to reduce their ecological footprint. 2. Optimize AI, data, and robotics, including modular and adaptive solutions, to maximize contribution to the Green Deal in various applications such as environmental and waste management, including, for instance, waste cleanup or in the circular economy value chain. 3. Advanced physical intelligence and physical performance of robotic solutions in diverse Earth environments serving the Green Deal. Proposals must indicate clearly which outcome they target. The awarding process will seek a balanced portfolio coverage. This means that, if possible, at least one proposal from each outcome will be awarded. Regarding the scope, proposals are expected to integrate and optimize AI, data, and robotic solutions in order to demonstrate how they can directly contribute to the Green Deal. The proposals must address use cases scenarios in actual or highly realistic operating environments. The proposed methodology should be supported by industry or service-relevant KPIs, making the case for the added value of such technologies and demonstrating scalability and deployment potential. Technology performance as well as added value to the application field should be demonstrated by qualitative and quantitative KPIs, demonstrators, benchmarkings, and progress monitoring. The environmental impacts of the proposed solutions should also be taken into account. Of course, deep involvement of all relevant stakeholders, including SMEs, from technology providers to user industry, social partners, and relevant experts in operational and environmental impact assessments will be essential. Last but not least, all proposals should incorporate training programs for non-expert users of AI data and robotic systems. To reach their objectives, all proposals are expected to exploit synergies between at least two of the three main components, AI, data, and robotics, and forge a strong cooperation between the corresponding practitioners. Proposals can involve either robotics-only solutions, for instance demonstrating robotic solutions in harsh environments, or a mix of robotics and non-robotics components, for instance in applications such as waste management, or only include non-robotics AI and data, for instance in energy optimization. At least half of the selected proposals must have a major robotics demonstrator. Therefore, proposals should clearly specify the robotics demonstrator if they choose to have one. We expect two types of proposals. Focus projects involving the user industry and technology providers, with an EU contribution around 3 million euros, or two, larger projects including financial support to third parties, where a number of companies in a given application sector will identify in the proposal common challenges and use cases and organize competitive calls for AI, data, and robotic solution providers to address such challenges, with an EU contribution around 5 million euros. Competitive calls will be open to all types of companies, but only SMEs and startups will receive financial support with a maximum of 200,000 euros per third party. SMEs will receive a funding of 70% of their costs and startups 100%. At least 40% of the requested EC contribution should be dedicated to the financial support to third parties. The consortium will provide technical support with expertise in engineering, integration, testing, and validation to support the selected SMEs and startups acting as technology providers to demonstrate the added value of their solutions to address the challenges of the use cases. To finalize the presentation of this topic, I will briefly summarize a number of additional requirements specified by the scope section of the call test. Proposers should pay also close attention to them. When possible, proposals should build on and reuse public resources from relevant previous funded actions. Second, proposals should make use of connections to the Digital Innovation Hubs networks. Full use should be made of the common resources available in the AI on-demand platform, digital industrial platform for robotics, data platforms, and, if necessary, other relevant digital resource platforms. All proposals are expected to allocate tasks to cohesion activities with the partnership on AI, data, and robotics, including the CSA's Horizon CL4 2021 Human 0102. Third, if proposals use satellite-based Earth observation, positioning, navigation, and/or related timing services and data, they have to prioritize Copernicus and/or Galileo EGNOS over equivalent competing solutions offering the same services. In all proposals, user industries are expected to play a major role in the requirement and validation phases. Last but not least, besides the financial support, these SMEs and startups must receive support from business experts provided by the action to further develop their businesses and develop their market reach and maximize their business opportunities. This concludes my presentation of the topic 09. Let's now move to the topic 10, AI data and robotics at work. The topic 10 also calls for innovation actions. The Commission estimates that an EU contribution around 3 million euros or 5 million euros per project, depending on their time, would be appropriate. The projects around 5 million euros may provide financial support to third parties. The total indicative budget for this topic is 22 million euro. The proposed activities are expected to start at an initial technology readiness level between 3 and 5 and must reach a TRL between 6 and 7 by the end of the project. The results of the proposals are expected to contribute to at least one of the following expected outcomes: a new human-centered paradigm to keep people away from unsafe and unhealthy jobs via collaborative embodied AI, engaging and empowering end users and workers regardless of their gender, age, or background. 2. Human-centric AI supporting professionals in trustworthy hybrid decision-making and optimizing their tasks. Proposals must indicate clearly which outcome they target. The awarding process will seek a balanced portfolio coverage. This means that, if possible, at least one proposal from each outcome will be awarded. Regarding the scope, proposals have to demonstrate how AI, data, robotics, and automation solutions can support workers in their daily tasks, improving working conditions, both physical and social, and work performance efficiency, while considering safety, security, and resilience as appropriate. The added value to the application field should be demonstrated by qualitative and quantitative industry production or service relevant KPIs. Demonstrators are TRL 6 or 7, benchmarking and progress monitoring processes. The involvement of the application sector stakeholders, including social partners, workers, managers, and decision makers, must be a key driver in the proposals, not only to identify the needs and the application scenarios, but to be involved in the co-creation, testing, and uptake of the solutions and providing feedback to adapt the solutions to optimize the impact on working conditions and performance. While the focus is on technology, a human-centered approach will be key. This involvement of the workers, professionals, and other relevant experts. Engagement with social science and humanities expertise is also needed to improve interaction design and to provide expertise on trustworthiness and acceptability by workers, as well as ethical perspective of human-machine collaboration. Finally, gender and intersectionality dimension analysis should be a part of the proposals where relevant. Each proposal will focus on one of the two following use cases. 1. Collaborative embodied AI, which means robotic systems, empowering end users and workers, keeping them away from unsafe and unhealthy jobs. The focus will be on demonstrating improved working conditions and worker trust and acceptance. And 2. AI and data supporting professionals in trustworthy hybrid decision-making and supporting workers to optimize and facilitate their tasks. The focus will be on demonstrating how AI and data can improve the effectiveness and efficiency as well as management of trade-offs within the decision-making, building on the human and machine complementarities, exploiting the best capability of both for a better outcome. Meaningful human oversight of decision outcomes and explainability should be addressed. A specific effort should be made to develop reusable decision support system or modules. As I said before, proposals should clearly identify which of these two use cases listed above they will focus on. As in previous topic, we expect two types of proposals. Focus projects involving the user, industry, and technology providers with an EU contribution around 3 million euro, or larger projects including financial support to third parties where a number of companies in a given application sector will identify in the proposal common challenges and use cases and organize competitive calls for AI, data, and robotic solution providers to address such challenges, with an EU contribution around 5 million euro. Competitive calls will be open to all types of companies, but only SMEs and startups will receive financial support to third parties, with a maximum of 200,000 euros per third party. SMEs will receive a funding of 70% of their costs and startups 100%. At least 40% of the requested amount should be dedicated to financial support to third parties. The consortium will provide technical support with expertise in engineering integration, testing and validation to support the selected SMEs and startups, acting as technology providers to demonstrate the added value of their solutions to address the challenges of the use cases. To finalize, I will summarize a number of additional requirements specified by the scope. First, when possible, proposals should build on and reuse public resources from relevant previous funded actions. Second, proposals should make use of connections to the Digital Innovation Hub networks, particularly those in robotics, data, and AI. Full use should be made of the common resources available on the AI on-demand platform, digital industrial platform for robotics, data platforms, and, if necessary, other relevant digital resource platforms. Communicable results from projects should be delivered to these platforms in order to enhance the European AI data and robotics ecosystem. All proposals are expected to allocate tasks to cohesion activities with the PPP on AI, data and robotics and funding actions, including the CSA Horizon CL4 2021 Human 0102. Third, all proposals should exploit the latest results in AI, data and robotics, as well as multimodal interaction technologies and natural user interface experience. 4. In all proposals, user industries are expected to play a major role in the requirement and validation phases. And last but not least, besides the financial support, these SMEs and startups must receive support from business experts provided by the action to further develop their business and develop their market reach and maximize their business opportunities. This concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hello, good morning. So in this session, I'm going to present you the calls on robotics in Horizon Europe. So the two calls I'm going to present is regarding research and innovation in robotics to make tomorrow's deployable robot, which are more efficient, robust, safe, adaptive, and trusted. So the first topic I'm going to present is about pushing the limit of robotic cognition. The type of project we are going to call for our research and innovation actions. The budget is €5 million per project, and we expect the TRL to start at 2 to 3 and around 4 to 5. What is the expected outcome of this call? So overall, we want to create the new generation of AI-powered robotics. And for that, we need to improve the perception and understanding of robots. We want to increase the level of autonomies. We want robots which need less supervision from humans. And we really want also to create the next generation of interactive robots which can more seamlessly interact with people. So there are two specific additional expected outcomes. One, if your proposal focuses on the autonomy part, so there we expect to create smarter robots with more in-depth level of intelligence, and they have to increase the underlying capabilities in terms of manipulation, in terms of mobility, and so on. So these proposals have to increase the level of complexities of functionalities and the increased level of autonomies of robot they are going to develop. If now the proposal is addressing the collaboration aspect of the call, then the project should really increase the type of human-robot collaboration, making them smoother and more trustworthy. And they have, of course, to be safe and reliable, but with an advanced level of reactivity, a mutual understanding between the robot and the human, and adopt really a human-centric approach for human-robot collaboration. the scope of the activity, what is it? So as I said, we want to have the next generation of AI-powered robotics. And what does it entail? So we want for that to have the right enabling technologies and tools. We want to embed from the beginning the trustworthiness and respecting privacy, security, and ethics in developing those robots. We want to increase the level of autonomy in terms of duration, so more lifelong autonomous robots. We want also to increase the acceptance of robots, and for that we need a human-centric approach. And as I said before, we want to push the limit of robotic interaction with their environment and with the humans as well. Now, let's go to the proposal type 1, where the focus is really on autonomy. So we asked the proposal to really build on the latest component and build on that and improve those components, and then further develop them and integrate them to have overall the increased level of cognition in the robot. So in addition to building on these, let's say, components, we want also the project to take advantage of external knowledge such as data and cloud inputs, and also address the issue of balance on-board versus off-board processes. And all depends on the focus on the proposal. They should address those types of action depending on the needs of their project. Now, regarding the proposal type 2, so as I said, the focus is on better collaboration between robots and humans. So there we want really to develop and integrate both physical human-robot interaction, including verbal and non-verbal communication. We want to have also better interaction between the human, the robot, and the environment, the object, the people around them. We want to integrate advanced control mechanism and further develop such control, advanced control. Indeed, we want robots, when they interact with people, to be faster, to be more reactive, to really adapt to the human. We want them to be more natural, and of course, always be safe and have these as smooth as possible human-robot interaction. Again, here we'd like to use data and knowledge where necessary to increase the level of reasoning and decision-making of robot. And also it's very important in human-robot collaboration to have sufficient level of explainability and transparency mechanism so that the user understand what the robot is doing and can also anticipate what it will be doing. So then it will also depend on the use case that will be selected by the project. And to ensure this human-centric approach and acceptability, is very important to integrate in your project really a multidisciplinary approach. So bringing the technology aspect and also the non-technology aspect, such as ethics, social science and humanities, and human-centric design. So now all the proposals, so both topics, have to demonstrate their scientific and technological improvement. And for that, they have to do that via at least 3 real-world scenarios to really show the improvement they bring to this research in the context of those scenarios. And they will have to embed a mechanism to measure the functional performance of the robots in these contexts. So that's very important part of the proposal. Each proposal is also expected to build synergy. So synergy with other project or activity. So for instance, what is important is to embed this principle of trustworthy AI. So that's an underlying principle that they should adopt in the project. And then they will have to work with other very important projects. For instance, they should reuse existing results, for instance, made available via the AI on demand platform, the digital innovation hubs, or the digital industrial platform for robotics. And they also have to foresee some tasks to work with the PPP, so the public-private partnership on AI data and robotics, and the corresponding funding action. And at the end of the project, it would be very important also to, again, make the result available, share it with the community via, for instance, the AI on demand platform or the industrial platform for robotics. So this was for the topic on pushing the limit of robotics cognition. The next topic I'm going to present is the topic focusing on European network of excellence center in robotics. So the type of project we are calling for is, again, research and innovation action. The budget is 11.5 million euro per project, and with it, that funding, they can redistribute about maximum 20% of that funding, so using the mechanism of cascade funding, and they can distribute up to 60,000 euro per third party. I'll explain that in a minute. The TRL start is between 2 and 3, and we expect them to reach about 4 to 5 at the end of the project. So what are the expected outcome of this call? So what we really want to do is to really have a world-class powerhouse for robotics in Europe. And for that, we need to advance science and technology. So this project, it's called networking, but it's collaboration. So we want really research to happen in this project. So we want to these science and technology to address major robotics challenges which hamper the deployment of robotics. So it will be also very important to build through this project very strong and tightly networked European research community in robotics. So these are the main two focus of this call and the expected outcome. Now, the scope, the main scope of this call is really to bring the best scientific from academia and industry to join forces and to address those major challenges which hamper the deployment of robotics. So we need to reinforce excellence throughout Europe and build very strong networks of collaboration and to boost research excellence and to answer the needs from the industry. So there are a number of actions I will go through. So the technology focus, the composition of the network, the activities of the networks, and the synergy we expect them to take into account. In terms of technology focus, as I said, the focus is on robotics topics. So we need to reinforce networks of excellence centers in AI port robotics. AI port robotics means robots with a certain level of intelligence, of autonomy in their behavior. And we want to focus on major robotics challenges. What is important is to reach critical mass, to increase the impact on our funding in being more efficient and progress faster in joining effort and bringing the best brain we have in Europe on the topic. In terms of research activity, so the focus is really on major scientific and technological challenges with industrial relevance and where really Europe can make a difference. And then the project will have to develop and implement research agenda. So they should present a vision, a roadmap to implement it, and then a monitoring progress process to guarantee that they will measure progress and demonstrate progress throughout the project. So these research agenda must be presented in the proposal itself, but could be developed a bit further during the run of the project. But they have to really make the case already of their strategy in the proposal. Throughout the project will have to demonstrate progress through use cases, and the project also have to make sure that they give access to the right resources and infrastructure for the researchers involved in the project. Now, in terms of research activities, so they have to really work and do research in major scientific and application challenges and mobilize the community to join forces in addressing them. So that has to be very clear in the proposal. What are you going to do? Which research are you going to do together? And then as I said, we need this continuous evaluation and demonstration of progress, which is very important to mobilize the project members and also to help the scientific the scientists in their career to really show progress, being able to publish as well. And finally, in demonstrating those projects through use cases, you can also attract the industry and the user community. As I said, it's important to embed in your proposal quantitative and qualitative KPIs. Now, regarding these aspects which are linked to human-robot interaction and the acceptance of robots and the need to address really a human-centric approach. So it's very important to address the human factor if you want to focus on the use of robot interacting with human. And for that, it's very important to have really an interdisciplinary approach which address all the different aspects and perspectives of the stakeholders involved in human-robot collaboration. And we need a human-centric approach, so bringing really a multi-stakeholder in the co-design of the research and the development. So involve the people at the heart of the development and also address the diversity in your teams. In terms of composition, the most important thing is that these networks are driven by leading figures in robotics from major excellence research centers and industry. So that's the key. After that, it's very important to compose the team and bring the best scientists you find all over Europe, not only in a few countries, but where the best are located, wherever they are, even also including promising labs. There might be excellent brains coming from everywhere. You have to find them. You have to bring the right level of expertise, excellence, and the variety as well. Also, you have to connect to industry and, if relevant, where relevant, involve the civil society. There are a number of activities that we expect from the network. So build very strong link to foster excellence, and it's about collaboration, not just talking, but working together. They have to disseminate to all to bring the excellence to the highest level throughout Europe. And for that, you can use this cascading mechanism to involve them. You can also, you should also interact with industry, involve industry in your project, in the also external activities. You need also to foster innovation, for instance, including incubator mechanism or innovation mechanism. And you have also to seek synergies and cross-fertilization with digital innovation hubs or industry, civil society and academia as appropriate. The final goal is really to build a network which will become a reference, the reference of robotics in Europe, to really have a central point where you can have access to top knowledge and expertise in Europe, have very high visibility and usability and accessibility of the best robotics technology in Europe. And of course, we need to attract talents. And this should be the case when you bring those leading figures together. This should become really attractive them. Then, as other activities, you have to build in very strong collaboration mechanism about those bringing those best research team to work together, and then also involve mechanism to spread the knowledge to bring all European research to the highest level of excellence. And then you have a number of activities where you should use to really share result and optimize project, as you can see they're listed there. And finally, the project should build synergy, so have mechanism to build synergy with the existing network of excellence center selected through the Horizon 2020 ICT 48 networks, and then also connect to the PPP, public-private partnership. There will be a CSA on that, and then also link to other relevant projects in Horizon Europe to share results, exploit these knowledge, and build this very strong network in Europe. So I thank you for your attention. After those two presentations, then we will move to a Q&A session in which we are welcoming your question through the Slido. So I see that some of you found the space already. So you see how to connect to the Slido, and we will handle one by one those questions together with my colleague Antonio Puente. So Antonio, the first question is for you.
Yes,
and
I think
the
so,
second
yes.
one as well.
Yes, for the focus projects, 3 million euro in digital emerging 0109, can art use academia access technology provider and coordinator? Yes, of course, indeed.
they can. Actually, in innovation actions, we expect to foster technology transfer. And who best that RTO academia to transfer technology they have previously developed in previous projects to other organizations. They can indeed coordinate and participate in this type of projects. The second question is, are consortia expected to do any innovation on their own, or is all partner work meant to support the FSTP awardees? Yes, of course, consortia are expected to do some innovation as well. The support of FSTP awardees, first of all, is only one type of projects out of the two type of projects that we have. And in the first type, in the focus projects, of course, because there is not FSTP, obviously the consortia must do some innovations on their own, but in the larger projects, they must do innovation too. So they have to include their own agenda of activities for achieving the objectives of the project.
Good, thank you. I'll take the third one, which is generic to all the topic actually, is regarding the integration of the gender dimension. Is it a requirement for AI data and robotics topics? It's a requirement in general. It's just when it's not included that it's written that exceptionally there is no gender dimension. Given that in this project we do not impose from scratch the specific type of applications, then by default, the proposer should include the gender dimension. But it really depends then on the focus of their proposal. If they focus on a topic which has no gender dimension, of course, there is no reason to integrate it. But as soon as they have a topic which might have a gender dimension, then they should address it and mention what they do about it, and have a clear understanding of what it means for them, and then how they address it in their proposal. So then there was a question about for cognition, the use case requirement need to be provided by 3 different entities, or can 2 of them be provided by the same end user? There is no requirement regarding that, so you can select as appropriate. The important is really to focus on the use case, to select the use case which will really help you to demonstrate the progress, and that it could also be applicable in various use cases. Why are we asking to have 3 use cases? It's to demonstrate the generalization, the generalizability of your solution. So pick them for that purpose, and it doesn't matter if it comes from the same or different entities. So that's really up to you. Is there a role for RTO in 112? 112, sorry, that's the
Excellent centers.
Yeah, the excellent centers, right. Again, some RTOs do have excellence research, so we don't preclude that from start. So we should really find the excellence wherever it is, whatever the label of the entity in which they are hosted, and then build on that. So it should really be driven by this requirement to focus on excellence and not to focus on one given type of let's say label entity. To be eligible for proposal submission, do we need to have prior experience or publication related to the proposed topics? I would say it depends which one. If you're talking about the excellence center, this is the whole point, to build on where excellence is. So there it would be rather a key element. In the other calls in general, what we check is that the consortium is capable of doing the work. So if you work in an industry, you might not have publication, then you have to support your capability of handling the project via your experience. Yeah, the same, if it's more scientific, then you should really explain. Basically, it's always the same. You should pick the teams to achieve the objective. You should not build a consortium and think, okay, how can we demonstrate that we are capable? No, you should first define the objective and then build the teams around these objectives.
Next
Yeah,
one, I
Antonio.
think it's for me. For 0109, how should the connection to the AI data and robotics PPP look like? Involve the organizations in the consortium? No, it's not essential to involve the organizations or the PPP in the consortium. What you must do is to have mechanisms for communicating and exchanging information and experiences with them. It's more the communication mechanisms that we want, that you implement, not involving the organizations as such.
Indeed, that's the same for all the project. We want to build a community, so to have to foresee tasks for doing that. I see. Can the dissemination? Yeah, that's this. Do subcontraction for dealing with the services related to communication dissemination tasks that need to be 100% paid for in an innovation action.
Yeah. Well, in general, we must say that subcontracting is allowed with certain conditions. One of the conditions is that it cannot be touch essential parts of the project or something dealing with research. Communication and dissemination is something that is very important. Normally should be done directly by the partners. Nonetheless, non-essential parts of the dissemination and communication, for instance, if you organize a workshop or an event and you need some logistics for that or for catering or whatever, this can be subcontracted, of course, but the most important task related to creating the content to be disseminated and communicated, this must be done directly by the partners.
Who are usually the best one because they know the content. Now to shape it and distribute it, then as you said.
Indeed.
And we should always think about efficiency. The budget is limited, so we should really make the best of the envelope that we have.
Actually, this is applicable to all four topics. It's not the question is referred to only innovation actions, but it's valid perfectly for the four topics.
Yeah, definitely. Collaboration is already. They wanted, okay, the collaboration with the partnership to be foreseen at proposal stage. So what we expect is to foresee a task to, of course, you don't have all the details. You can, of course, contact the PPP, which has just been built to maybe plan a bit better what to do. But since the coordination and support action has not yet been selected, you cannot go in much detail. What is important is to foresee some activity, keep some budget to explain that, okay, you are going to work together with them, exchange knowledge. If they organize events, you will attend it and contribute. The goal is, again, to build a community where we share the knowledge, we share the result of the project. And if you can learn and gain from each other in building synergies, then that's the whole point of linking through the to the PPP. So that's the idea. Antonio, there is one for you, the last one on the page for the 110 call.
Yes, for the 0110 call, is it necessary to bring a robotic system on board, or is it okay only bring AI and data technologies? You can choose. both possibilities are allowed. As I have explained in my presentation, there are a type of projects which entail more physical embodied AI that we call, which is a robotic systems, so with a physical instantiation, but systems without a physical instantiations are also allowed by this call. So there can be innovation actions dealing only with data and artificial intelligence.
Yeah, thank you. I think now the same. Yeah, our time is up now, and I have to inform everybody that there will be a service for brokerage and interaction organized by the National Contact Point. So it will be announced, I think, via this website. So between now and the call deadline, so you will be able. We will offer them tools to help you building your consortium, and this will be supported by the national contact points and the networks of those contact points. So thank you again for your attention. Thank you, Antonio. And I wish you a good work. It's hard work, but good work. It's never luck. It's always work and quality, which makes it for preparing a very good proposal. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session. This is session 16, Destination 4, European Leadership in Emerging Enabling Technologies. We shall cover 3 topics in this session. The first one will be presented by me. I'm Thanasis Chrysafis from the European Commission DG Connect. It concerns topic 13, Academia Industry Forum on Emerging Enabling Technologies. This is a coordination and support action to create and catalyze a forum for emerging interdisciplinary areas and new technological visions. The second topic which will be presented today is topic number 14. It will be presented by my colleague Luis Martinez Lafuente from HADEA. The topic aims to unleash the true potential of Spintronics in the next generation of integrated circuits. The third topic to be presented by my colleague Giulia Marzetti from DG RTD is topic 27 on biointelligent manufacturing. This topic aims at the development of technologies and devices for the biological transformation of industries, in particular in the discrete manufacturing sector. You will have the possibility to pose questions through Slido. These questions, please, when you send a question, make explicit clear from the beginning for which of the 3 topics you are addressing, posing the question. So this was my first introduction. We can now start with the presentations. Good morning, everybody. I'm Thanasis Chrysafis from DG Connect C4. I will present to you the topic on Academia Industry Forum on Emerging Enabling Technologies. First, I would like to remind you the background against which we placed this action. It is Group 3 of Destination 4, European Leadership in Emerging Enabling Technologies. Europe's leading industry sectors have a solid track record in constant improvement, but less so for embracing transformative ideas. The pathway from research to industry uptake is often long and staged, with no interweaving of research and industry agendas. In the age of deep tech, though, this interweaving is essential. The objective of this heading is to identify early technologies that have the potential to become Europe's future leading technologies in all areas of this cluster, and to establish industry leadership in these technologies from the outset. This heading has a unique focus on off-road map transformations with a longer time horizon but profound potential impact. The scope of Topic 13, Academia Industry Forum on Emerging Enabling Technologies, is the following. It is a coordination and support action to create and catalyze a forum for emerging interdisciplinary areas and new technological visions. These actions enable and support a broad range of participants across disciplines in science, engineering, research technology organizations, industry sectors, stakeholders to meet, mutually inspire, cooperate and develop together innovative ideas for future enabling technologies from early stages. The concrete activities that this forum could undertake are horizon scanning, portfolio analysis, a variety of participatory workshops, visibility in various meetings, high-profile reporting on emerging enabling technologies. These will build on and link to existing programs and research portfolios from European and national or regional programs, including at low TRL, as well as broad sourcing from foresight and technology scouting activities, including those specifically done by this action for the cluster 4 industries and sectors. The forum should link to existing initiatives and partnerships and add value by active cross-fertilization across disciplines and sectors, and by breaking the model of linear progression of technology development. National or regional research and innovation priorities and orientation from European countries will be taken into consideration. Broader stakeholder engagement is expected. The forum should become a reference for new enabling technologies at different levels of maturity, their purpose, their transformational pathways and their impacts, with a distinctive anchoring in European industry and research. And the forum should provide guidance and reasoned alternatives for Europe's transformations in line with the Commission priorities, in particular Green Deal, digitization and industrial strategy. The results of the proposal are expected to contribute to the following outcomes: European thought leadership in academia and industry on future enabling technologies and their transformational potential in industrial, societal and environmental terms. Increased engagement for structural collaboration and co-creation between academic, industry players and other stakeholders where roles of research, industry and society intervene in an iterative and multidisciplinary approach for co-creating the enabling technologies of the future, all the way from low to higher TRLs, such as, but not limited to, bio-enabled technologies, sustainable smart materials, and alternative computing models. Also, alignment with national or regional initiatives, creating an expanding innovation ecosystem anchored in local context across Europe for selected emerging technologies, and accelerating the pickup of novel advanced technology by industry and society. Finally, I would like to mention that the total indicative budget for this topic is 2.5 million euros. As I mentioned already, it's a coordination and support action. And the proposal should involve and be driven by representatives of the relevant actors in the field, for example, academia, RTOs, industry, including SMEs. And I would like to also say that in this topic, the integration of the gender dimension, sex and gender analysis in research and innovation content is not a mandatory requirement. Thank you very much.
Welcome to this information video about topic 14 of Digital Emerging in Cluster 4 of the Horizon Europe. The topic is Advanced Spintronics, Unleashing Spin in the Next Generation Integrated Circuits. We are calling for research and innovation actions with an EU contribution per project of 2 to 3 million euros and implementing the Photonics partnership. The total budget is 17 million euros and we are aiming to increase the technology readiness level from 2 to 4, which means from technology concept and or application formulated to component and or breadboard validation in laboratory environment. Here are the expected outcomes for this call. First, we have the disruptive spin-based hardware components and devices, with significant progress towards the wafer-scale integration to provide industry-compatible solutions for memories, sensing, imaging, communication, and computation. Then we have the first spin-based digital devices, the spin chips, that demonstrate the specific advantages of the approach and exhibit a significant decrease in energy consumption. Then we also have the large-scale complete systems that include next-generation Spintronic devices with emphasis on compatibility, integration of different materials and technologies, including complementary metal oxide semiconductors and photonics. And here's the scope of this call for proposals. We would like to focus on interdisciplinary research and development between academic research, RTOs, and industry, including SMEs, to address at least one medium-term challenge in Spintronic components and devices. Here are some of the suggestions. Develop new classes of materials, such as two-dimensional magnetic materials and heterostructures with tailored magnetic ordering, sensitive to different stimuli like electric fields, like stress, etc., achieving experimentally the largest effects allowed by physics to create new components and devices, including non-conventional ones beyond the state-of-the-art. Another one would be to boost the utilization of spin charge interconversion for detecting spin currents or manipulating the magnetization of ferromagnets. Well, this is a key for ultra-low power operations, as well as for a change in paradigm in logic, with the goal of cutting down the energy consumption by a factor of 1,000, enabling ultra-low energy, autonomous and safe devices towards the auto-joule electronics. Some additional challenges include to reach a massive gain in energy and time scales by profiting from collective spin excitations, spin waves, vortices, skyrmions, and etc., and their interaction with other waves, quanta, carrying angular momentum, for example, phonons, photons, plasmons, or heat waves, for ultra-fast logic and data transfer. Another one could be master magnetic noise, stochasticity, and chaotic behavior for improved sensitivity, room temperature operation, and development of new device functionalities that enable new architectures and algorithms for use in a variety of sectors. The proposals that will be funded under this topic are expected to collaborate in order to create a critical mass of cooperation between the EU research, industry, and other relevant actors in the area of spintronics. The overall goals are to put this emerging technological paradigm firmly on the industry's roadmaps, to foster the interdisciplinary communities that are driving this forward, and to improve the visibility for all key stakeholders. Proposals should aim at demonstrating a fully functional prototype of a Spintronic device operating in relevant environment conditions and show how it will unlock the full potential of the field in a number of specific and high potential application areas. Here are some additional details for the Eurozone Europe proposals. The maximum number of pages is 45. There is a gender equality plan to be in place for public bodies from 2022. There will be an exclusive focus on civil applications, no more evaluation of the management structure, and the impact criterion will have the concept of key impact pathways. Researchers need to be identified and specifically named in the proposals. Thank you very much, and please let us know if you have any other question.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this Horizon Europe work program presentation, Cluster 4, Digital Industry and Space, Destination 4, Group 3, European Leadership in Emerging Enabling Technologies. I am Giulia Marzetti, and I'll be presenting the topic Digital Emerging 0127, Development of Technologies and/or Devices for Biointelligent Manufacturing. This topic is a research and innovation action. The technology readiness level that we're expecting for this topic is to start at 2, therefore having the technology concept formulated, and by the end of the project, achieve TRR 4, technology validated in a lab environment. The indicative budget for this topic is of 22.5 million euros, and the EU contribution that we're expecting per project will be between 5 and 7 million. This topic looks at the emerging trend of the biological transformation of industry to harness innovative and more efficient modes of production that foster the green and digital transition. The scope of the topic is on discrete manufacturing, and this should be the focus of proposals. This is because biological transformation is already somewhat being addressed by the continuous process industries, whereas in the discrete manufacturing, there are still advances to be made in the biological transformation. For these topics, the expected outcome to be fully addressed are the following, starting from strengthening European leadership in biointelligent manufacturing to support the industrial biological transformation. Proposals should aid the biological transformation of industries, investigating the biological technical interfaces of industrial and technological application. This can be done by using, for example, biological components interfacing with technical and mechanical components in a discrete manufacturing environment. Ideally, there will be a bidirectional communication and data exchange between the biological and the technical or mechanical components. So, for example, think about a biosensor or a bioactuators. Proposal should cover the research activities in the core scope, but they're welcome to go beyond that. So, among the research activities to be carried out, there are biomimicry of biological mechanism to enable discrete manufacturing. This topic also covered the importance of digital technologies and their application to enable biointelligent manufacturing. Proposals should then investigate the use of big data, digital twins, artificial intelligence, and other digital technologies to facilitate data exchange between biological systems and components. As biointelligent manufacturing is a novel field, this topic should also look at metrology and characterization required for the development of bio-inspired technologies. We're also expecting proposals to address the facilitation of interdisciplinary collaboration and knowledge transfer among different disciplines and fields such as bioengineering, biological, industrial manufacturing, without, of course, forgetting about social science and humanities. So thinking about the acceptance of biointelligent manufacturing in industrial applications. We thank you for your interest in the Horizon Europe work program and for this topic, development of technologies and our devices for biointelligent manufacturing. We look forward to receiving your proposals.
This concludes the part of our presentations. I will wait perhaps a few seconds in case any of the participants in this session has a slide or question to send. Otherwise, you will have the opportunity, as I said, to submit questions at a later stage and we shall answer back to you. I want to thank the other two co-presenters for the effort they made this afternoon. I want also to thank all the people that attended the live streaming of this presentation. Yeah, I see no questions so far. So, Julia, Luis, maybe we close the session here. Okay. Good, good. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and we will be available to stay in touch with you whenever you need something.
Hello, my name is Oscar Diaz. I am the head of sector of quantum computer at the European Commission. Many thanks for joining us in this presentation of the quantum technologies call in Horizon Europe. We will provide an introduction to quantum technologies in Horizon Europe and the bigger picture to show you how Horizon Europe fits with the rest of quantum initiatives in the Commission. After that, each topic coordinator will introduce the calls. You can provide your questions using Slido during the presentation or during the question and answer session at the end. Of course, you can contact us at any time. You can use the functional mailbox for evaluations, that is connect-c2-evaluation@ec.europa.eu, or the email address of the topic coordination, that is name.surname@ec.europa.eu. The presentation will cover the quantum technology calls in Horizon Europe. These calls are focused in research, development, and innovation. There is a movement from left to right, bringing the technology from low TRL to high TRL and full implementation. Quantum technologies are also covered as part of the Digital Europe program by two main initiatives. First one, the EuroQCI for the deployment of quantum communication infrastructure, and second, the Euro HPC for deployment of quantum computing and simulation infrastructure. These two deployment initiatives will be reinforced soon with the creation of the QT Fund that is being set up to provide funding for quantum startups in Europe. In fact, the quantum flagship calls for Horizon Europe help to establish the foundation for the other two pillars of Euro QCI and Euro HPC. Euro HPC will proceed to purchase and deploy quantum computers, simulators that will work integrated with high-performance computer systems like the ones developed in the quantum flagship. Euro QCI will deploy the quantum communication infrastructure that will use the development of quantum repeaters or the quantum key distribution devices like the ones being done as part of the quantum communication calls. Moreover, quantum computing is a key element of Europe's digital decade, with the first computer with quantum accelerator. We will now present the different calls on quantum technologies for 2021. All the information that will be discussed today is available in the work program. The work program has precedence over what will be said here. In any case, you can find the work program, the call documents, guidance documents, and all the templates and forms in the reference document area of the funding and tender opportunities in the Ffpa website. You have the address here, or you can find it just by searching for Reference Documents Horizon Europe in Google. As you can see in the work program, in 2021, there will be two publications. One that happened the 22nd of June and that will close the 21st of October. And the second publication that will include all the Ffpas will open the 28th of October and close the 27th of January 2022. Today, we will focus in the research and innovation actions, or RIAs, and the coordination and support actions, CSAs. For the calls on international cooperation with Canada, there has been two workshops recently to provide more information to both Canada and European partners that you could find with all the information in the qt.eu website. Compared to previous work programs, this year we are also launching Ffpa's actions or framework partnership agreements. These are long-term cooperations that typically lead to several or recurring grants or SGAs and are focused on high TRLs. The main reason to have Ffpas is to have long-term actions for development and innovation that takes longer than 3 years. These Ffpas will build on the quantum platform supported during the quantum flagship ramp-up phase. As these Ffpas calls are very specific, we will have a special session the 2nd of July via WebEx to provide more information. Here you can see the details for the connection to the Ffpa session. This session will provide more detail about the different Ffpas, and it is open to everyone that is interested to participate in these calls. I will now provide just a brief information about the different Ffpas that will be open this year. All the framework partnership agreements will focus in high TRL solutions. This means starting at TRL of 4 to 5 and reaching a TRL of 6 to 7. Moreover, all Ffpas will open in October and close in January. Once the consortia of the Ffpa has been selected, a specific grant agreement or SGA will be launched for each Ffpa, with an approximate duration of 3 years for each SGA. Normally, there will be 2 consecutive SGAs that will be signed. The Ffpa for developing the first large-scale quantum computers will have 2 Ffpas with a budget of 40 million euros. This will permit to finance 2 different quantum computer systems. This call will build on the quantum computing platform supported during the quantum flagship ramp-up phase. The second is the Ffpa for development the first large-scale quantum simulation platforms. This call will build on the quantum simulation platform supported during the quantum flagship ramp-up phase. The simulator should be based on and reinforce existing physical platforms such as ultra-cold atoms, trapped ions, Rydberg atoms, photonics, or other type of qubits. For quantum communications, we will have 2 Ffpas. One for building the quantum internet and another one for quantum encryption and future quantum network technologies. Both FPAs will build on the ongoing projects supported under the Quantum Flagship ramp-up and on those currently defining during the Euro QCI initiative. The last FPA is focusing in open testing and experimentation and pilot production capabilities for quantum technologies. The objectives are first, to create a long-term open, supportive and sustainable experimental and testing infrastructure in Europe that are openly accessible by European academia and industry. And secondly, to develop and provide access to first European fabrication capabilities for quantum technologies, building on and linking together existing infrastructures. If you are interested to know more about the FPAs, please join us on Friday, July the 2nd at 10 in the morning. And with this, I pass the floor to my colleagues to tell you a bit more about the other calls. Thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Dagmar Floyd, and I will now be presenting the topic Next Generation Quantum Sensing Technologies. I'm the topic coordinator for this topic. It has opened on the 22nd of June and will close on 21st of October 21. We foresee that these projects will last for 3 years. We have a budget of 13.5 million euros, meaning that we expect that we can fund 2 projects having about 6.75 million for each project. I will now present the expected outcomes in more detail. We expect that this research and innovation action will demonstrate the feasibility of the next generation quantum sensing technologies and devices. We also expect that they will show disruptive progress in the performance, reliability, and efficiency, enhancing the technology readiness levels of all essential components. For the scope, we expect the research and innovation actions to provide extreme precision and accuracy measurements in many fields. We also expect the project to go beyond the performance of consumer devices and services. Examples of projects would be medical diagnostics and imaging, high precision navigation, or the future applications in the Internet of Things. We also expect proposals to develop new methods and techniques to achieve full control over all relevant quantum degrees of freedom. We expect that these sensors are protected from environmental noise. And we also expect that quantum properties are exploited emerging in quantum systems to improve the performance of the targeted sensor technologies. For example, in terms of resolution, sensitivity, or noise. And this all well beyond the classical limits. We also expect that proposals should develop laboratory prototypes from technology readiness levels 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, demonstrating the practical usefulness of engineered quantum states of light matter to improve sensing or imaging. Also to develop and demonstrate optimized quantum software for detection applications in real-world applications. Also expect a leverage of interdisciplinary expertise and joint forces with metrology institutes or other relevant technical fields to further advance the limits of sensor sensitivity and resolution. We also expect proposals to implement the best control protocols, statistical techniques, and machine learning algorithms. Finally, for all projects that belong to the quantum flagship, we expect that these projects coordinate their respective activities within each sensor subfield. We also expect them to contribute to the governance and overall coordination of the quantum technologies flagship, and to contribute to spreading excellence across Europe, for example, through the involvement of widening countries. In this coordination and support action, we expect that not only the quantum flagship will be supported in all ways, but also the implementation of the overall European quantum strategy. This call has opened on the 22nd of June and will close on the 21st of October. We expect the project to last for 3 years and have a budget of 6.4 million for this project. We will fund a single project only. Now we are coming in more detail to the outcomes of these. We expect coordination and support action to support the efficient functioning of the quantum technologies flagship and the efficient implementation of the broader EU quantum strategy, and also to promote the flagship's activities to a wide public. Now we're coming to the second topic, where I'm topic coordinator, the support and coordination of the quantum technologies flagship initiative. In one sentence, we are looking here for a project that will not only support the quantum flagship, but also implement the overall European quantum strategy, meaning that it will also support the quantum infrastructure project, like the quantum communication infrastructure and the quantum computing infrastructure within the Euro HPC. This topic has opened on the 22nd of June and will close on the 21st of October. We will fund one single project and have a budget of 6.4 million euro. The project is expected to last for 3 years. I will now come to the expected outcomes in more detail. We expect the coordination and support action to support the efficient functioning of the quantum technologies flagship and the efficient implementation of the broader EU quantum strategy. Also, that the project will promote the flagship's activities to a wide public. We expect the CSA to enable flagship projects to find synergies in their work and to share best practice. Also, to publish a European research industry community roadmap. We also expect the CSA to foster a European quantum community and provide a forum for productive discussions on research and innovation strategies. Also, to transfer European research and innovation results into practical and high-value applications. Furthermore, we expect the CSA to contribute to the development of international standards and regulations. We also expect it to define a European core curriculum for quantum technologies and to facilitate access to services and trainings offered to interested post-secondary students, workforce, and other potential users. To create a training program curricula in close cooperation with industry for the quantum workforce, according to the specific skills required by the quantum and end-user industry, and also to implement innovative research-based curricula in quantum technologies for the university and secondary school education. Now we're coming to the scope. The coordination and support action is expected to support the implementation of the overall EU strategy, including the governance of the European quantum activities. Also, to raise the profile of the flagship's activities and of quantum technologies in general. The CSA is also expected to update the European strategic research and innovation agenda, and to conduct a community-based process for preparing a research and innovation investment roadmap. It is also expected to undertake a wide dissemination of the quantum flagship results and to organize outreach events and engage in structured discussions with the general public. We also expect the CSA to provide research dissemination services to the projects. Furthermore, proposals should conduct a structured dialogue with the general public that will take the form of engagement via all meaningful platforms. To encourage the flagship's projects to find synergies in their activities, contribute to the overall EU strategy in the field, and share best practice. To foster the growth of a European quantum community that links all academic and industry stakeholders, and to include concrete activities to coordinate and streamline European industrial efforts in quantum technology, to help unlock research from laboratories and forge a supply chain in Europe, and to feature a plan enabling the translation of academic research in all flagship pillars into practical quantum technology and applications. In respect to international cooperation, we expect the CSA to establish a dialogue with other international programs in quantum technologies and in promotion of international cooperation activities. All proposals should contribute to spreading excellence across Europe, for example, through the involvement of widening countries. In regard to standardization processes, we expect the CSA to address concrete standardization activities in European and international standardization, to develop an active presence and leadership in the coordination and development of international standards and regulations in quantum technologies, and to bring together all the relevant stakeholders in the whole quantum technology standardization value chain. We would also like them to describe which players are to be mobilized and how they will be efficiently coordinated. In regard to training and education, we expect the CSA to do an extensive mapping of current and future requirements for education and training, to define standards for implementing appropriate educational strategies, and to develop strategies for scaling up advanced quantum technology training programs across Europe, to establish a network between science, civil society, and industry to exchange ideas, needs, and human resources, and to coordinate the education activities and strategies. We also expect that these activities are driven by representatives of the relevant actors of the field. We also expect the CSA to take into account synergies with activities in advanced digital skills supported by the Digital Europe program. I'm now coming to my third topic, where I'm topic coordinator. This is basic science for quantum technologies. Here we're looking for projects that are exploring new avenues for potential growth in the field of quantum technologies. This call will open 28th of October 2021 and close on the 27th of January 2022. We expect the project to last for 3 years, and we have a budget of 16 million euros. We expect to spend 2 to 3 million per project, so that we will in the end probably be able to fund 5 or 6 projects. Now I will explain what we expect for the outcomes in a bit more detail. We expect the project to open up new avenues for potential growth in the field of quantum technologies. And we also expect novel concepts leading to more advanced technologies. We also expect that these projects will inform the quantum flagship's work in other quantum fields and or explore new directions within existing fields. For the scope, we expect projects to explore new quantum effects and gain new knowledge that is not limited to the pillar activities. Also, we expect them to explore areas of particular interest, including quantum information theory, the identification of new laws and limits, and understanding the mechanism behind decoherence. We also expect research that go beyond the field of pure quantum technologies, as for example, the study of quantum effects in thermodynamics or biological processes. We also expect projects to develop strategic components ranging from fundamental properties to engineering quantum devices and systems. Examples are light sources, interfaces including manipulation of light, and single photon detectors. Or, for example, the development of new materials and single integrated solutions or hybrid integrated solutions that are miniaturized and scalable. We also expect the development of new protocols, control approaches, and algorithms and fabrication and packaging solutions. Finally, like for all projects connected to the quantum flagship, we expect that the proposal should contribute to the governance and overall coordination of the quantum technologies flagship, but relevant to cooperate between the projects, in particular with the four main pillars of the quantum technologies flagship, meaning the quantum computing, quantum simulation, quantum communication, and quantum sensing and metrology. And we expect the proposals to contribute to spreading excellence across Europe, for example, through the involvement of island countries. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Philippe Reynal. I'm a policy officer at the European Commission in the unit for quantum technology, and I am the topic coordinator, in other words, the contact person, for this topic on investing in new emerging quantum computing technologies. This slide here is a summary of the topic, but I'm going to give you more details about it. You can find anyway everything I'm about to say in the work program published last week on the website Funding and Tender Opportunities of the Commission. Before I tell you more about the scientific aspects of this topic, let us consider the more administrative side. This topic takes the form of a research and innovation action, and it is expected to last 3 years. The total indicative budget for this topic is 10 million euros. This amount should allow the funding of 2 projects, as we estimate that the EU contribution of 5 million euros should lead to the expected outcomes. But of course, in principle, you can submit proposals with a different amount and still be selected. The call opened on the 22nd of June and will close on the 21st October. Regarding eligibility, so in order to achieve the expected outcomes and ensure the EU strategic autonomy and security, the participation in this topic is limited to legal entities established in the 27 member states, together with associated countries, OECD and Mercosur countries. These restrictions are put in place to avoid a technological dependency on non-EU sources. In terms of TRL, the project should start with the TRL 2 to 3 and end with the TRL 4 to 5. So basically, this project starts with an experimental concept and ends with a validated technology ready to leave the lab. I should perhaps remind you that the EU scale on TRL goes from 1 to 9. 1 corresponds to basic principle observed, and 9 correspond to prototype demonstrations in environmental and in operational environment. So that's it for the more administrative side. Let us now look at the scientific content of the topic. First, expected outcomes. Proposals for this topic are expected to contribute by investing in new emerging and potentially promising quantum technology platforms, beside the ones supported in the ramp-up phase of the quantum technology flagship. Again, just to remind you, we are already funding 3 different platforms and 1 project for applications in quantum computation. These 3 platforms are trapped ions, superconducting qubits, and semiconductor spin qubits. So they are named Actions, Open SuperQ, and QLSI. We are also funding a project called NEASQ, N-E-A-S-Q, for next applications on quantum computing. And as the name suggests, the aim of the project is to develop applications running on NEASQ machines, so noisy intermediate scale quantum. So these new emerging technologies should have prospects for high scalability and fault tolerance. So beside the quantum architectures now under development in the flagship, technologies such as neutral Rydberg atom, photoning qubits, and spin qubits can be considered as candidates for the call on quantum computing. These are just examples, and we'll fully consider any candidate that complements the already funding technologies. With respect to scope, of course, in this call, we are concerned with quantum computation. So in order to reach large-scale quantum computing in Europe, breakthroughs in scalability of quantum computing processors and integrated platforms are needed. Together, of course, with, you can expect it, the ability to perform qubit operations such as read, write, and data transfer, and qubit manipulation with a universal set of quantum gates. These new emerging technologies will require further research and development, but they should integrate key building blocks such as quantum processors, at least 10 qubits, control electronics, software stack, and algorithms and applications. Eventually, these emerging technologies should also address the scalability towards larger systems, at least 100 qubits, verification and validation of the quantum computation, fault tolerance, and solving a concrete computational problem to demonstrate quantum advantage. So that's it for the scientific part. But now beyond the science, proposals should cover the cooperation with projects specifically launched to support the quantum software ecosystem, and they should establish appropriate IP exploitations agreement from the very beginning of this cooperation. So we will soon publish a new call entitled Strengthening the Quantum Software Ecosystem for Quantum Computing Platforms. And I'm going to tell you more about it a bit later during this session. They should also explain how they will contribute to the governance and coordination of the flagship and spread excellence across Europe, for example, through the involvement of widening countries. These countries can be member states or associated countries, and you can find the list of these widening countries on the EC portal. Finally, the integration of the gender dimension in research and innovation content is not a mandatory requirement for this topic. So that's it for me. If you have any question, please let me know using Slido, and we will try to answer your question at the end of this presentation during the Q&A session. You can also send me an email simply to my email address or to our team address. So for my email address, it is my name, philippe.reynal@ec.europa.eu. For the team address, it was given by one of my colleagues at the beginning of this presentation, but basically this is cnect-c2-evaluations@ec.europa.eu. Thank you very much. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Philippe Reynal, and I'm the topic coordinator for this call on strengthening the quantum software ecosystem for quantum computing platforms. The slide here is a summary of the topic, and you can find everything I'm about to tell you in the work program published last week on the website of the Commission. Before we look at the scientific aspect of this topic, allow me to say a few words about the administrative side. The information is located at the bottom right corner of this slide shown on your display. This topic takes the form of a research and innovation action that is expected to last 3 to 4 years. The total indicated budget of the topic is 12 million euro. So this amount should allow the funding of 2 projects, as we estimate that the EU contribution of 5 to 7 million euro should lead to the expected outcomes. But in principle, you can, of course, submit a proposal with a different amount and still be selected. The call will open on the 28th of October and will close next year on the 27th of January. With respect to eligibility and in order to achieve the expected outcomes and ensure the EU's autonomy and security, the participation in this topic is limited to legal entities established in the 27 member states, together with Iceland and Norway. Now, importantly, this eligibility will be extended to include legal entities established in associated countries, which will provide guarantees concerning the protection of EU strategic interests. So again, these restrictions are put in place to avoid a technological dependency on non-EU resources. In terms of TRL, here again for this RIA, the starting TRL is 2 to 3 and the ending TRL should be 4 to 5. So basically the project starts with an experimental concept and it will end with a validated technology ready to leave the lab. So that's it for the administrative side. Now we can look at the scientific content of this topic. First, expected outcomes and then the scope. So expected outcomes is pretty straightforward. Proposals for this topic are expected to contribute by developing quantum-specific algorithms and methods to solve problems in a wide variety of industrial fields. So the goal is to give the the European industry a competitive edge. Now for the scope. So proposals should address the development of quantum algorithms and methods to solve problems like chemical and materials simulation, data analysis and optimization, space data processing and mission planning. But these are just examples, and you can develop novel quantum algorithms for yet unexplored application areas. The goal here is to solve concrete problems and have methods that can demonstrate a quantum advantage. Proposals should target the development of quantum applications and the development of industrial use cases for the quantum computers of the quantum technologies flagship, especially those presented today. That is to say, the two SGAs on large-scale quantum computers and the RIA on new emerging quantum computing technologies. Furthermore, proposals should target the development of quantum software stacks and libraries that will facilitate the link from a high-level description of the algorithms to a low-level implementation with quantum gates. Importantly, the developed applications and software should be independent of the underlying qubit technology, and their correct functioning should be tested on as many computing platforms as possible within the flagship. In addition to the scientific requirements, proposals should also cover a few additional aspects. They are similar to other RIAs. Proposals should cover the cooperation with projects supporting quantum computing platforms, and they should establish appropriate IP exploitation agreements from the very beginning of this cooperation. Proposals should also cover any additional support that they may receive from national or regional programs. They should also explain how they will contribute to the governance coordination of the flagship and spread excellence across Europe. This can be done, again, through the involvement of widening countries, and the list of these widening countries can be found on the portal of the Commission. Finally, the integration of the gender dimension in research and innovation content is not a mandatory requirement for this RIA. So that's it for this topic. If you have any question, please let me know using Slido, or you can send me an email to my email address, philippe.reynal@ec.europa.eu, or you can also send an email to the team email address that will be shown on the very next slide. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Dorotanas and I'm a policy officer in Spintronics. I'm in charge of the following topic, which is quantum sensing technologies for market uptake. On the next slide, you will see the details concerning this goal. So first of all, this is an innovation action, which means that we are aiming at a higher technological readiness level compared to the previous call on quantum sensing that my colleague Dagmar presented. The outcomes for the proposal submitted to this topic should consist on major quantum sensing technologies and devices in many different application sectors. By major, we mean at the end of the project, these devices should have a TRL of 6 or 7. The goal of the proposal should be also to establish a reliable and efficient supply chain, including first standardization and calibration efforts for rapid market uptake. Now, concerning the TRL, as I mentioned, we aim to, at proposal starting from a TRL of 4 or 5, which corresponds to experimental and demonstration pilots. And at the end of the project, the devices should reach the TRL of 6 or 7, which corresponds to a first implementation and industrialization. Concerning the scope, the proposal should address the development of relatively mature quantum sensing technologies and single or network operating devices that have the potential to find a broad range of new applications in various sectors. So among these sectors, we could name, for instance, transportation, precise localization, health, security, telecommunications, energy, electronics, industry, construction, mining, prospection, and much more. The proposal should demonstrate advanced prototypes of such sensing devices that provide an unprecedented level of precision and stability, making new types of sensing, imaging, and analysis possible. To achieve the purpose of rapid market uptake, the proposal should target miniaturized, integrated, transportable quantum sensors and provide first plans for their industrialization through enhanced cost efficiency and user operability at higher TRL. To achieve all this, we believe that the proposal should include relevant actors from the whole value chain. So this goes from materials to devices and to system integration aspects. They may also include where relevant activities and actors from metrology institutes, which could provide measurement methods and standards, including for the development of quality assurance methods, as well as support for the standardization of the targeted quantum sensing technologies. Now, concerning the administrative aspects, the call will open end of October this year and will close end of January 2022. The expected duration of the project is 3 years, and the Commission estimates that a new contribution between 7 and 10 million per project will allow these outcomes to be addressed appropriately. Therefore, the total budget for this topic is 23 million euro, which should allow us to fund about 3 proposals. In case you have additional questions about this topic, do not hesitate to contact me. You have the name on the bottom right corner, or you can ask questions today via slide. Thank you for your attention.
Good afternoon. My name is Christian Trefzger. I am a policy officer in the Quantum Technology Unit of the European Commission, and I manage the international cooperation activities at the European Commission. And the next slide, you will see that we had already a workshop in the past with presenting the EU-Canada joint call. This was held on May the 3rd and a second section on May 31st. It was a very successful workshop. We had more than 200 participants from both sides of the Atlantic. And so all the material that was developed during this workshop is available at the official website of the Quantum Technology flagship, which is qt.eu. So here, I'm not going to go through the whole presentation again that we did during the EU-Canada workshop, but I would like only just to recall a few key points that are in the next slide. So the opening of the call was just last week, 22nd of June, and the closing of the call will be 21st of October 2021, as you see on the right-hand side of the screen. We expect to fund about 3 projects with typical duration of 3 years, but of course, you can submit project with different type of duration, and we can select project with different type of duration. The total EU plus Canada budget for this call is 8 million euros, and I am the topic coordinator. So please, if you have any questions, either go to the official website of the Quantum flagship, qt.eu, or please do contact me. So a few key points. The contribution per project that we do expect is about 2.5 million. Both from the European Union and from the Canadian side. So the indicative budget from the European Union is 4 million, which is 6 Canadian dollars millions. And this 4 million will go in support only to European beneficiaries. Instead, the indicative Canadian budget is also about 4 million euros, which is also about 6 Canadian dollars million. And it will go to support only Canadian beneficiaries. And once more, if you want more details about this call, please go to the website qt.eu that includes not only the presentation from the European Union, but also from NSERC, which is the corresponding of the European Union in Canada, which is the Canadian Funding Agency. So the scope of the call, very briefly, is to address, as you see on the bottom part of the slide, to address a mix of quantum technologies challenges in the area of EU-Canada interest that are quantum computing, quantum communication, and quantum sensing and metrologies. So these areas of common interest have been highlighted in a past workshop with Canada, especially one that we did in 2020. And what is very important in this call for you to consider is that not only you have to address, let's say, one or more of these quantum technology challenges, but you have to clearly identify what is the added value and the mutual benefits, both from the European side and from the Canadian beneficiaries. So why is there an interest to set up a common project and to collaborate towards a common goal? The type of project that we envisage here are of basic science type, so typically starting at TRL 1 or 2 and to progress in typically 3 years towards TRL 2 to 3. But again, once more, we suggest this type of duration, so 3 years and 2.5 million per project, but this does not preclude submissions and also selection of different amounts. So with this, I have ended my presentation. So please, if you have more questions about this international joint call, go either to the website qt.eu, which is the official website of the Quantum Technology Flagship and has a presentation of both the European Union and on the Canadian side, or please do contact me through the functional mailbox. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you. We will proceed now to the question and answer session that it's live. We are most of our colleagues, different topic coordinators of the call connected, and you can do all the make all your questions. You can send all your questions via Slido. Okay, so please go ahead and start to do the questions, and we will answer. In the meantime, while we start to get questions, we got a few questions. If you can see, we provided answers to the questions that we just received via Slido. So if you can go and click the answer, and you will see the answer, especially because for some of the questions we are providing links, so it's better that you have the link. So what I will proceed is to the first. We will go through the questions that we have received. I will provide the answers, but as I said, you can see the answers directly in this slide if you click on the answer. The first one that is where we can find where can I find the application forms for the proposals. Basically, all the information regarding the forms, regarding the work program, the different information, the grant agreements, everything, you have it in the reference documents section of the participant portal of Horizon Europe. We included the link there in the answers of Slido, but you can directly, if you go to Google and you search for any search engine, you search for reference documents Horizon Europe, you will get this the first link, and you will get there all the information. The second question, it's if there will be a brokerage event dedicated to quantum, and we provided the answers there. There has been, as was said by my colleague Christian, for the EU Canada, for the workshop, there has been 2 events. There have been 2 events, and you have the links in the qt.eu website or the flagship website. You can go there and you can see basically you have all the presentations and all the information on those 2 events. Related to the national contact points, the NCP's event, they are going to be organized, and you have also the information in the in the website of Horizon Europe. In the info days, we included there will be 3 one for digital that it was held from the 24th to the 25th of June, and you have the link there. There was another for industry that will happen. It will be the 1st of July, and another for the space that is the 20. It was the 20. It's going to be the 28th of June. Okay, that's for the second question. The third question. It's the work program refers to Ffpa, that is the framework partnership agreement, but he's talking about the financial regulation only has Ffpa. Okay, and the question is, what is the legal basis for using an Fpa instead of a Ffpa? You have the reply there. Basically, there are 2 different things. The Ffpa, it's a financial framework partnership agreement, and it's basically for the finance distribution of budget, so it's not applicable here. Here we are using Fpas, that is, as I said before, framework partnership agreements, and these are normally long-term cooperations that that they lead to several recurring grants or SGAs. Okay, and these are focused on TRLs. That is what we are trying to do here. For that, you have all the information also. You can see even the documents that are defining how these Ffpas and SCAs are working in the reference document area of the Horizon Europe. Okay. The next question, it was what guarantees will be required for topics affected by Article 22.5. But basically, this process is ongoing with associated countries, and once that the process is finished, we will inform for the of the required conditions on this article. For the moment, we cannot provide more information. I have I think it's not a question. I think this is basically a comment. That is the NCP brokerage platform for digital will stay open until autumn for you to find partners. So basically, what we are recommending is that you get in contact with your NCP, with your national contact point, and they will provide you all the information in order to find partners. And it will be open. The platform, it will be open until the closure of the calls until autumn. Okay. So those are the questions that we have for the moment, and we are waiting for other questions. I don't know if my colleagues wants to. One moment. Let's see if we have more questions in between. Okay, I think we got another question, that is, if can Switzerland participate in the calls, and what about Switzerland? So companies and startups from Switzerland. I will, one moment. For this one, I will pass it to one of my colleagues. So one moment. I will, one moment. I will pass the question. Basically, if you, in the meantime, because I think one of my colleagues will, in the meantime, there is a list of the associated countries for Horizon Europe. You have it also in the reference documents. And basically, on the list of participant countries in Horizon Europe, currently the third countries associated to Horizon Europe, Switzerland, is not in the list. Okay, and it's basically it clearly says there that legal entities established in Switzerland are currently not covered by the transition agreement. So for the information that we have now, it will not be possible. Okay, anyhow, we will provide an answer in written in a slide, and you will provide more details on that one. Okay, let me see if there are other questions. One moment. I think there is another one for what about the UK participation? Okay, so UK participation, it's in, if you see this document that, as I said, you have it in the participant portal, and it's called a list of participant countries in Horizon Europe. You can search by that. UK is included. Okay, so that means that UK legal entities in the UK they can apply. However, as you know, for some of the calls in Horizon Europe, the ones that they have that they apply the 2022.5, there will be some requirements in order to apply for these specific calls, but in principle, it's open. Let me see, there are more questions. Okay. sorry, for the UK, it will be only for high TRL. It will be the ones that the 22.5 is applying. Okay, we got another one. That is why gender dimension is not a requirement for some calls. One moment. Okay, I will pass it. I will pass the question to my colleague. One moment. Does anybody wants to get the question?
Carl, do you want me to answer to the question on the gender dimension?
Yes, please, Christian.
Yeah, usually what the question on the gender dimension is about research that has a gender dimension. For example, if there is analysis of DNA in the research, and in the research there is clearly a dimension that the analysis is done only on a female group or only on male groups, then this is the gender dimension in the research. In quantum, we do not have this type of gender dimension. What we do have instead is, in case there are ties in the evaluation, so the evaluation points are excellence, impact, implementation. In case there are ties, then usually what we look at are the budget dedicated to SMEs. And in case, again, there are ties, then we look at the gender composition of the consortium. So.
Thank you, Christian. Okay, so we are waiting for more questions. In the meantime, I will, while we receive more questions, I will encourage for the people who is interested on the Ffpas, I think it was presented in the presentations before. You have on Friday, 5th of July at 10 o'clock, you have a session on Fpas, a specific section of Fpas for the ones that we are going to, that has been published on quantum. Okay, so if you are interested, I encourage you to connect via WebEx, to that session that is open to everyone who is interested. Sorry, Friday, 2nd of July. You have all the details in the presentation, so you can go to the videos and the first presentation. You have the details for the WebEx connection. So we are waiting for more questions. As we said during the presentation, if you have any other questions and you want to do it in a later stage, you can always contact us directly or through the functional mailbox that we have provided. You have it also in the presentation. Situ evaluations. So I think that there are not too many more questions. So I think let's wait if another few more seconds. If we don't have any other questions, I think we will close it. As I said, you could ask any questions at a later stage. You have all the information in the presentations. So let's wait another few more seconds, and if not, we close this session. So yes, I think we are not receiving more questions. Okay, so I think with this, I would like to thank everyone and my colleagues for preparing the presentations, and everyone who assisted to and attended the presentations. And if you have any questions, you can always contact us directly to the topic coordinators or via the functional mailbox. And I encourage you to participate for the ones who are interested in the Ffpas on the session that we'll have this Friday at 10 o'clock. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Good evening. Bye.